This is the ArtZone. ArtZone is a video document of the arts and artists in the Rockford area. 2 artist interviews make up this ArtZone. One at the home studio of John Deill, and the other at Illinois Design Center with Ginny Woltzen. Then we'll see 4 performances and an installment of Meatspace from our friends in DeKalb.
Hi, I'm Doc Slavkowski, and this is the Art Zone. We're coming to you from J.R. Kortman Center for Design downtown in the heart of Rockford's cultural district. In this Art Zone, we'll take you to the studio of Rockford artist John Deill and have a conversation with him about his Kortman Gallery exhibition entitled Collectibles. And then Ginny Woltzen, a Lakeville, Illinois artist, will talk about her art and exhibition that was on display at Illinois Decorator Center here in Rockford. And then you'll see a video montage of some exciting artistic performances that have taken place in the Rockford area in the past few months. And then in video art, we'll show you some intriguing video from Meatspace, hosted by Devin Hankel and Jim Asbury. So now sit back, relax, and enjoy the Art Zone. We're just 3 days away from your opening of your show, Collectibles, at the Kortman Gallery. And we'll probably see some footage of the opening as time goes on here. But let's find out who you are, John. Tell us about yourself, really, a little bit. We know you're an artist, but tell us how you came about being an artist.
Okay. I grew up in Rockford, and I was just always intrigued by people that could interpret something three-dimensional onto a two-dimensional sheet of paper. And I just thought, I need to learn how to do that. And it just advanced from there to out of control.
Was there a drastic change in what you were doing before you formally studied art and then after?
Yeah, because before I studied it, I would still, play with just abstract ideas and everything, but it was, playtime, and I didn't know where I was going with it, or, why am I doing this? And, there was no foundation there. So, yeah, I think, getting some sort of a foundation there, because I didn't finish school. So, I mean, that's, I don't have a piece of paper, but yeah, just being introduced to, the history and, what transpired from 1900 on, was a real eye-opener, and it was necessary for me.
All right, you said before your education, you said you didn't know why you were doing this. Now you do know why you're doing
Not
this?
Not necessally. Yeah,
I want to know why are you
that's
doing
a
this?
pit. I don't know. I mean, it's a desire within me that, I've, plugged into it, and it's something that keeps leading somewhere else. And it's like, the more you try to walk away from it, the more it gets in your blood. And it's one of those things that just keeps on going. And it's, the ever-ready bunny.
How would you describe your work? How would you tell somebody if they couldn't see your work, but you had to tell them what you do? How would you explain that?
I mean, if someone doesn't connect with my work, then I don't know what I could say to them, because a lot of times I've had conversations with people where if they've already got something in their head that they're not going to get it, it's almost futile to, have a conversation. But I mean, I think that what I try to do is put some sort of energy into the work that feeds back when someone's viewing it. Because I mean, when I respond to a piece of art, it's like, you walk into a gallery and you can walk past, 20 pieces and not necessarily connect with it. But then, there's that one that it's, is it the color? Is it the way the paint's put down? Or is it the fact that Picasso stood here before me? I mean, it's just, there's a lot of different things that go there. And I mean, so I mean, if someone's a non-believer in me, then, I don't think that I could, really convert them. That would be a goal.
Let's talk specifically about your work, especially the work of the show Collectibles. A little bit how you came up with the title Collectibles, and then talk about some of the pieces in the show.
Okay. The term Collectibles, we were talking about having the show, and the way I remember it is that we needed a title, and we had been talking about doing something in the way of an installation, and it's changed since then. But the idea of being a site-specific installation above a shop that sells, unique collectible items, I just decided that I wanted to play with that idea because I collect all kinds of artifacts and materials from other artists and from all over the place, and they become the fuel for the next piece. And then, it's like one piece evolves into the next, and then, that piece might not work, but it's like, hey, that'll work over here. So that collectibles idea is something that I do, and it just seemed to work for me.
So there is an interaction between the pieces that are in this show to a certain extent, right?
Yes. Yeah, as far as the series, there's a couple pieces in there that are called curios, and so it's like you were asking about, what is your art about, or things like that, and it's like there's a curiosity to me that keeps me going, and I don't always understand exactly what's happening when I'm working on a piece. It's just that this one is really drawing me in, and so later on it might dawn on me, or I might be reading something that just says, now I get it. It's like, maybe I'm plugging into something other than, just what I already know. And, so there's knowledge there.
That large piece on the back gallery wall is really fascinating and really sort of draws you in, and it's kind of like the anchor for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because it makes reference to Jasper John's studio. And
Yeah, I think I was thinking of my studio when I made reference to Jasper John's. Jasper John's is having a retrospective show now with a lot of his work, from the targets on through cross-hatchings, through the bulletin board type things being pasted up all over the place. And so what I tried to do was, there's a upside down portrait of Jasper Johns in the corner, and then there's a grid pattern that forms with, it started out as all vertical green panels, and then I started casting shadows of objects from my studio onto the wall, and then painting into those in opposite directions or the same directions in thinner lines and things like that, and then adding collectible pieces to that, like the old frame, which the green studio wall brought to mind Matisse's piece, the Red Studio. And Matisse was more in the age of the vintage frame, and so it's like, that's involved. And then the vintage frame has the horizontal stripes of the cedar that are somewhat like the American flag, and then up in the upper left-hand corner there's a black panel like the star area on our flag, which Jasper Johns has done. And in that is the star formation and rhinestones of the constellation Pisces. And then also on the piece are, the two Mediterranean souls with the eyes on the same side of the head, which is somewhat reminiscent of a Picasso piece.
I know there's a lot in that, and as you're explaining it, there's things I never even thought of. Actually, when I first saw the piece, the Jasper Johns head coming in upside down, I thought that was like an artist palette or something. It didn't look to me like, until I realized, my God, that's a face looking down there. But
perfect.
It's a great piece. I mean, as far as if someone would obtain that piece and have that in their home, it's almost like bringing a room into the space, which is a really neat idea, I think. What do you see for your future as an artist?
Okay. Just to keep trying to evolve, because I've really been, around struggling for a long time, and it's just now getting to the point where it's like people are starting to respond to my work. I mean, I've kind of been there, but kind of invisible, I guess. And so at this point, it's just try to keep building a body of work so that I can keep, like towards that piece, to keep going in that kind of a direction where someone else responds to it as excited as I am.
Do you feel that your work will I'm sure it probably will change, but do you kind of know do you have a feeling, because now that you've completed this show, then you kind of move on, right?
Yeah.
or will it be the continuation of the same thing, or do you think there will be a definite change once you like complete a body of work?
I think I learned something, with this show, and, because of the time constraints, it's like we talked about doing it, and then, it's like that time elapses really fast, and it's like to put together a whole show in a short period of time is, you don't, you can't guarantee yourself that, oh, 2 weeks I can do a piece, 2 weeks I can do a piece. It's not like that. Some pieces go on for years. So, I mean, it was just kind of like, okay, so I learned a lot in a short period of time. And, then the knee-jerk show came in at the same time, and it was kind of like, uh-oh, how do you say no to this? And, yet you want to put all your effort into that piece and stay going on this at the same time. And I have a show now in March in Crystal Lake, and so I sort of know where I'm going with it because the lady that picked me to do this show liked a couple of my paintings from last winter. So I want to try to evolve from those with what I've picked up from this show. So yeah, I sort of know, but it's like as soon as you think you know what you're doing, it ruins everything because with the way I work, it's pretty improvisational. I don't map out a way to go and then go because it never turns out that way. And even when I improv this direction, it's just kind of like it ends up going way off the map somewhere else. So yeah, I don't know that I have that much control yet.
Who does?
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever I'm not vacationing down in Mexico, I watch the ArtZone.
My name is Ginny Woltzen, and I'm here at the Illinois Design Center and Gallery in Rockford. And my work is being shown presently, and it represents the last 5 years of my work. My grandfather was a tailor, and I watched him cut and mark on brown paper his own patterns. And my mother was always making things. She made hats. And my dad was always making things. He was a carpenter, and he built our home. And I think from a very young age, I really wanted to make things, wanted to do things with my hands. My work is just, it's my life, basically. Everything influences me. What's going on in my life at that time in relationship to other people, the things that I see, and the things that I experience, and some things that are inner experiences that I'm sometimes not aware of at all until much later, even months later. My studio is on a lake, and what I've found is that the landscape and the seasons, they influence my work quite a bit. I used to think that almost everything came from within and from what other sources I was looking at, but I'm finding that the landscape really influences my work. The more vibrant pieces I seem to do during the summer, early spring and summer. The pieces that have a lot more white, I do in winter because there's a great expanse of white when I look outside my studio. I did watercolors for more than that, probably 10 or 15 years. And I found that it didn't have the immediacy that I wanted. I wanted to be able to manipulate the materials, and watercolor is about the most unforgiving of art mediums. So I started doing drawings, large-scale drawings. Those led to works on panel using acrylics and other materials, somewhat unconventional materials like tar and joint compound and sand. My work excites me when I'm doing it and when I reach a point that I just know I couldn't improve on it anymore. It's quite often happened that I don't want to finish what I'm doing because it's finished, but I don't realize it and I have to set it aside for a while. The pieces that are vertical and not horizontal diptychs, I called the Couple series. That series I did during a time in my life with fair share of turmoil, and I think what I was doing there without really knowing it is I was trying to invert gravity and give the upper portion of the painting more weight and create a tenseness. And also they are separated by a very small 1/4 inch space, and that space sets up a tension. Sometimes when artists do diptychs, they try to hide the fact that they're diptychs. I wanted people to realize they were diptychs. Right now I'm continuing with the work that involves the use of tar. I want to see how far I can go with that. Most of the pieces that I've done so far have been small, intimate works, and I'm wondering if I can translate that to larger scale works. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's where I'm headed. One thing that runs through my work is that there are layers and layers, and that creates some of the richness. And with the tar, it also follows that I use grounds of acrylic, and I use some metallics and other things that just build up the surface, with the tar being the final ba-dum-bum. Diane Butler at the Illinois Design Center and Gallery in Rockford has put on a wonderful show for me, and if anyone is interested in my work, she would be the person to contact.
And somehow that separation, that refusal to touch, contaminates us with a deeper virus, the virus of indifference, of hard-heartedness. You see, anytime you need to reach out and touch and do not, you have to have something hardening the arteries of compassion in your spirit, and that shrivels the soul.
One of the most comforting feelings a man can have in this world of ours is never to be alone.
This is a magnificent world.
Hi, welcome back to Meatspace, care of Northern Illinois University and the good people at ArtZone. We're back for our second installment here.
And tonight we're going to be seeing a piece called Chinese Boxes by
Dwayne Hegwish.
Daddy.
Devin Ankle. That's me, man.
Hey, it's your piece. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, man.
Glad
Thanks.
to see you could get it on.
Hey, no problem. We just wanted to show you guys that, we're not hacks, that we can actually do this stuff ourselves. And after you see this, we're pretty sure you'll actually probably think we're hacks. Clinches. Oh well. Meaning, has meaning, nothing has meaning, nothing has meaning, without context. Nothing has meaning, without context. Hi, it's me. You know, when I began this piece, I had a goal. I had this big old concept that I was going to use this video to place myself as an artist within society. So I started by asking questions like, if I am an artist, what is it I do? What's my job description? So I turned control of the piece over to the idea. After all, the idea was the context I was trying to define, and inside the idea, I was going to have meaning. So I began shooting footage with each section couched neatly within the last section like Chinese boxes. First, I tried to define a culture. I decided that all a culture was the vocabulary it used to communicate. Next, I tried to define the vocabulary. I decided a vocabulary was made up of a finite set of symbols used by a culture to express itself. A collection of abstractions that referred to objects, actions, quantities, qualities. You get the idea. So what did this have to do with the artist? Well, I figured that the artist's job was to create symbols, new symbols to add to the vocabulary that's already in place. Sounds logical, right? There was only one problem. It sucked. It sucked because it was wrong. I went back and looked at what I'd done so far, and everything seemed pretty rational, but I couldn't find a trace of myself in the whole pile of images. So I thought about it and tried to figure out what it was I was doing wrong, and then it occurred to me. I was trying to contextualize myself inside an idea that I came up with, inside an idea that was only a tiny fraction of all the ideas I have. So what did I learn from all this? I mean, apart from the fact that I'm a bonehead and all that. I guess I learned that it's the process as much as the product that's important. I mean, your fuck as important as your successes. And sometimes you gotta fuck the wrong track before you get on the right track. I know a couple of guys who do a song about just this topic, and why don't we let them sing it right now? And then I'll be back.
You go on fighting, never win the fight. You keep on trying and never get it right. Don't you know? You're wrong, you know. You can think you're brilliant, you can think you're strong, you can think you're clever, but you never get it right until you get it wrong.
That's so true. Oh, excuse me a minute while I compose myself. Oh, At this point, I think it's important that I wonder what this means to me as an artist. I mean, if process is the only important thing, why bother having a concept at all? I've been playing guitar for about 17 years, and I spent a lot of time learning the scales. I mean, if you don't know the scales, you don't know your way around the instrument. But on the other hand, if all I ever played was scales, my music would be about as exciting as George Bush's underwear drawer. See, I learned the scales to forget them. I don't write music about scales, but I need to be able to refer to them to make my point. In the same way, I don't think you should make art about the concept, but you need to be able to refer to the concept when it's time to make your point. I'm not saying you should approach each piece without a concept. I'm just saying that if you become a slave to the concept, your piece misses out on the chance to have happy accidents. And if you let it have happy accidents, it can grow to be larger than you ever expected it to. I mean, when a painter paints, they take into account the fact that the paint isn't going to respond exactly the way they expect it to, but they build a relationship with their materials. And if you're honest in your relationship with your materials, your piece can grow naturally and still be a reflection of you. So in the end, it seems, I had it all backwards. You can't make art working from the outside in. You have to work from the inside out. I mean, that's the way Beethoven did it. He started with a simple idea and expanded on it until it was a whole symphony. As great as I think he was, it's not like the Ninth Symphony just dawned on him while he was on the crapper. He had to work his way through it. It's the process. I mean, since I trashed the first idea, it's not like I had any master plan, just little ideas, and mostly about what a piece of shit piece was. But I took all those little ideas and expanded on them until the piece as a whole began to take shape. And so far, it seems to be working out all right. At least it's better than the first piece. I mean, I tried to figure out the way I should work, and all it got me was frustrated and a ton of lousy footage. But when I stopped and took a look at the way I do work, I began to understand just a little bit about who I am as an artist. Nothing has meaning without context.
Well, thanks for watching the ArtZone. We hope you enjoyed the program. If you have any questions or comments, give us a call at 968-0123 or stop in and see us at J.R. Kortman Center for Design downtown at 107 North Main. Once again, thanks for watching the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone.
This is Nancy Froelich speaking for the ArtZone. If you're interested in previous ArtZone shows, they can be checked out at the Rockford Public Library. ArtZone is funded by J.R. Kortman Center for Design and Cafe Esperanto, downtown Rockford.
This is the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone. This is the ArtZone.